Hey YouTube, I'm Jerry Lowlife, and welcome to another episode of the entertainment industry. This was an interview with the vocalist, frontman, and guitar player of Haggardz Hellraizerz. His name was Chris Poor. So we did this interview on June 3rd, this last Friday. If you guys missed those and you guys want to check out the live interviews that I do on Facebook, head on over to Jerry Lowlife Interviews on Facebook. I will have it in the description below. You guys can check that out. Go over there, give it a follow. Make sure you guys have those notifications on and you'll be notified. I do them every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Anyways, on to the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. When did we meet, Chris?
Oh man.
Did I meet you when was I in Lowlife when I met you at all?
When you guys
or was it
were
Phoenix
right,
Syndrome?
Lowlife had ended and Phoenix Syndrome had just kind of plateaued. You guys were kind of one of the big swings when I was coming in. I actually got into Oklahoma City with a band called Ear Candy.
That's right.
Is where I kind of got thrown into the lump of y'all, or actually y'all got thrown to me or whatever. I don't know. But I did that group for a while, played guitar, backup vocals there for a little while, and wanted something a little heavier and stuff. So that's when I did the Severed by Sin thing. And then, I mean, playing in two bands, man, you know how it is. It's
absolutely,
yeah, man. And my heart was really in the heavier stuff at the time. So unfortunately, I stepped down and took over the big role of the main guy of Severed by Sin.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
The
for
good
sure.
Old days.
So let's take it back even further. So what was probably a pinnacle moment in your life where you were like, man, I want to be in the music industry? Like, what was that thing, or what did you see or experience that you can think of off the top of your head that was...
You have to think about it, man. As soon as you started asking the question, I already had it in my head, dude. I was 13.
Okay.
And sorry, I'm getting Facebook notifications. My mom said, "Hey, let's go to Pampa. We're gonna go to Pampa for the weekend. We're gonna go see your aunts and your cousins and everybody." And you know, of course, I'm 13 in Western Oklahoma, and I'm like, "Get out of working this weekend? Heck yeah, let's go." So we got down there, and my cousin Richard plays guitar, and he's in a band at this point in time called Suspense.
Okay.
And I got to go to the practice on Friday night, and they had this big free show in Central Park of Pampa, Texas. It's called Central Park. It's just a big park in the middle of town. You know what I mean? It's not really that big.
Right.
So we get down there and they get all set up and everything, and we're like, hey, this is going to be pretty cool, man. And we get there, and you know, of course, you know, nighttime comes, and here they come on, loud lights and everything, and all these people just show up out of nowhere. Boom, and everyone is just rocking and headbanging and smoking weed. And back that time, you couldn't even smoke weed legally, you know, which in Texas you still can't. But
right.
And right then and there, I mean, I seen the way that their front guy kind of had everybody just right in this, like, he could have probably told them people to do anything, man, and they would have just flipped script and ran. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And then just the way my cousin played guitar and stuff, man, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, man, I want to be a drummer. Well, we see where that got me. not a drunk.
Well, that's awesome,
But
man.
yeah, that was the moment right there. I was like, "Hey, I want to be a rock star," you know.
Right, 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 right.
And here I am still trying to be one, but it's been real fun.
Hey, if your heart's in the right place and you're having fun, that's the most important.
Yes,
And that's the
sir.
biggest reward that you can get from anywhere.
Yeah,
And that's something
absolutely.
nobody can take away from you? So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's really awesome. That's one thing I really like to ask everybody is what was that spark? What was that interest? What was
Yep,
the thing that turned that table that made you go, man,
yep.
that's what I want to do,
That was
So
that was the event that really just kinda, I would say, sorta screwed in the light bulb,
mm,
and then, at at a younger age, not younger than 13, but younger than obviously I am now, we're old.
yeah,
But, in my kinda latter teen years, of course, small town America and fucking drugs move in and, I just things happen and I actually had to wind up splitting to,
right,
better myself, and
right.
he was the one I actually went um, to live with that guy for a long time, and so I got the pleasure of learning how to play guitar on these extremely nice Gibsons and Guilds and, like, all this stuff because he was the damn manager of the local music store.
Oh, cool.
So go out there and hang out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I did this in Pampa, Texas, which is known as Little Chicago, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. We'll just say, uh, but it's really all in who you surround yourself with. And I just had a really good group of guys and group of men who were willing to give me the time and kind of keep me structured and keep me moved forward and on track. And
Right.
um, really, that's kinda where it was, and then, some things happened, and I moved back to Oklahoma, and that's when I really started getting into it, man, and, wasn't long after that, come around '06, '05, and, moved up to Oklahoma City and, got with the Ear Candy guys, created Severed by Sin, and just went and raised a whole bunch of ruckus.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So
We got to do some really cool stuff, man, with that band.
yeah, yeah. Right on. So you were in Texas and then you moved to Oklahoma. So officially, what I know because you've gotten to open up for a few nationals and things like that. So do you remember what your first national band was that you got to play with?
First national band that we got to play with, um, I believe was your boy, Dino, and Divine Heresy. Um,
What, really? Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
in fucking August at the conservatory with no AC. But
Wow,
just so
that's
we
kind
were
of
all a little
awesome.
bit lighter when we left that stage that day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it was really great, and I think the one thing that I remember the most of the whole entire thing was just how cool and humble Dino was. I mean, hell, dude, I sat around with Dino and talked shop with that guy for like 2 hours. And I'll
Cool.
never forget the first thing he asked me when I just went up and started bullshitting with him was, "You got a demo?" No, I ain't got one of those yet. Oh, bro, you should have a demo, man. I'd love to take your demo and jam it while I'm driving across country. Fuck.
Yeah. So, we all kind of like grew up listening to certain music and certain things and those type of things that would influence us. If there was one person that you could say, hey, this person was a huge influence in me. Like for me, there was many, and it's hard to pick just one. I would almost ask if you even have a top five, but what are maybe some musicians that gave you big inspirations?
uh, Top five. I've named him already. Um, I give him the number one spot just because, uh, you know, he's my brother. I give him credit for saving my life, man. You don't just take somebody and help them out like that. And but yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
brother Richard Spence, my cousin, he'd be number one. And then of course, with me, everybody knows me, and number two is the baggage, man. Dime's playing and tone and attitude, just outlook, man. He kind of got the one that kind of drove the fuel into the monster. And then, of course, you can't leave behind his blooded brethren. Zach Zach Wild's another the big influence on mine. Um, and then you got like Lane Staley and Cantrell, and like you said, man, the list goes on forever. But
Right,
really,
right.
really, that's probably in the top five there for me, man. The guitar list, dude, that list
Yeah.
is so daggum long, man.
It's
we,
hard.
we
It's
could sit
hard to
here and
pick it
fill
apart.
3 hours just talking about that alone.
Absolutely.
And then,
Absolutely.
and then rounding out my top five would be, Pepper Keenan from Corrosion. I
Nice.
try to take a lot of, front man focus and, vocal placement and just things, you know, I look up to Pepper a lot, and it seems to be working so far, man. My little chemistry set that I've got going of different guys. I take a little of this from and a little of that, and kind of
Right.
mix them together. And I guess that's
Right.
me,
Right.
man.
So we kind of covered the fact that the things that were influenced with you, kind of talked a little bit about the bands that you were in and kind of where you came from and the things that kind of sparked the interest for you to be a musician. So you've been a front man and you've been a guitarist as well. Were there any roles that you kind of looked at differently? I know you're doing both at points, you're singing and you're playing guitar. Is there a certain role you prefer more than the other over one?
Uh, Man, to be honest with you, um, I've been doing the frontman thing for almost 2 years now, which is crazy to say. Uh, but really, I enjoy being the front man. I've got kind of, I guess, that personality or whatnot. I don't know, but
Mhm.
I enjoyed playing guitar only too, and just doing backups here and there because I wasn't tied to a microphone, so I could be the cool, crazy guy that ran across tables and chairs or jumped out in the crowd and jammed out in the mosh
Right,
pit with
right.
people. And but I also enjoy um, the front man side of things too, because I get to kind of tell my story from my words.
Yep.
And, I think, that relates to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because, what we write about, man, is stuff that I live, man, stuff that you live, stuff that we all live. I mean, we all struggle with something somewhere of some type. And, I think that's why things have been going pretty decent for what's going on here lately, man. And
Right.
I'd have to say, really, just being on stage entertaining folks, man, is where I like to be. Whether it's front man or guitar or whatever, you know,
Okay. Okay.
and just being on stage entertaining folks, man.
I can feel that 100%, and totally agree with you. And having that perspective of, see, I have never done the front man thing, so, but I can only imagine. And I've talked to a few people, a lot of people, that sing vocals and they're up in the front and they're doing that type of stuff, and I've always been that drummer in the back, which doesn't
Right.
mean, you can't sing vocals, but I think it's a little bit different presence of someone either being up in front of the crowd rather than
Yeah.
being in the back, and singing. So it's like it's a different presence. And I've had the same questions with national artists to small local artists, asking them, hey, you know, what do you prefer, doing the guitar and singing, or just the guitar? And it's exactly like you were saying, you know, sometimes having that separation from the mic and being able to go ape shit and be anywhere you want to and just have a good time, to, hey, I want to tell my story and I want to do my song, and it's cool to portray and get my understanding across to people as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
both very understandable positions to be in. Absolutely. Out of these years, you being a musician, what advice would you have given yourself, your, like, if you could go back and tell 18-year-old self things to expect and what to do as you're going and progressing into a music, you know, career per se, what would you have gone back, and what would be one thing that you would tell 18-year-old Chris Poor?
Uh, to slow down and take your time. Don't get in a
Okay.
rush.
Okay.
Um, I'm finding, you know, because I'm doing this whole thing that I'm into now. This Haggardz Hellraizerz project is it's a whole different beast than the Severed by Sin was, because I am basically at what you call the front of you know, the face, so to speak, of the band in more ways than one.
So it's Severed by Sin. Your main thing in that itself, you did a lot of the guitar type
Yeah,
stuff in that work. So
did I put that band together um with, like, that band had so many different renditions of it.
mhm.
The latter rendition, the rendition when we did the reunion show, the Big Papa's reunion show back in 14, I think it was. Uh,
Okay.
that lineup, I mean, nothing against anybody that's ever been in the band. I mean, because I always had really good. That was one thing always seemed how to do, was surround myself with good musicians. You know, which I've been very blessed and fortunate for on that. But that 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 reunion show lineup, which would have been the 2010, 11, 12-ish. I get
Mhm.
my dates all mixed up, man. Too much Jaeger back then. But that lineup of obviously myself and Andrew Sauceda and Tyler Combs and Ben Hill, uh, us four guys, I don't know what it was, man, but when us four stepped in the room together and plugged shit in and started banging things out, like, it was just crazy how like, it didn't matter what was going on. We all knew where the next person was going to be before the next person was even there. If that,
Mhm.
and you know what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
got
yeah.
those people that you just lock in with, man, and everything just kind of flows. And we were that way. That's my favorite. The stuff you see on YouTube, there is a bunch of songs on there from that. I thought I had one. I thought I had a CD close on camera. You
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
thing on? It's just self-titled. You see that on the YouTubes.
Okay.
That was us four, and that's we've got some other live recordings of some the other lineups and stuff up too. So it's not,
Nice.
you know. Um, but I would say that would probably be my favorite lineup of the
Uh,
Severed by Sin
Okay.
monstrosity.
Right on, right on, right on. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, we all have those changing lineups, you know, and that kind of happened with me in a long period of time when I was with Lowlife. You know, we had different guitar players, different bass players. At one point,
Oh
we
boy.
added keyboard players, and we had different samplists, and it like just always, you know, changed,
Yeah,
but it's just kind of the name of the game. Um,
unfortunately, it is. But luckily, it's now I don't know kind of what it's like now because I've got some pretty good solid guys, so I don't really have to look for anybody or anything. We just kind of work
right,
schedules.
right, right,
But
right.
back in those days, it was like you just called somebody up and was like, "Hey, man, I need someone to fill in this spot for a couple gigs. Can you help me out?" And it was like a couple days later, and you weren't skipping a beat. You just fucking keep
Right.
on rolling.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's one thing I can all honestly say about Oklahoma City is we've always had a real good, talented pool of musicians.
Not only
Here,
that,
I mean,
but it's been very tight network too. A
very
lot of
tight.
people
And
scratching each other's backs, helping each other out. We've always had a really good local scene for a long time, and you know, it had to be tight net. And if it wasn't tight net, then a lot of things wouldn't have happened the way it did. So it's
right,
I feel that too. I'm very thankful, for that as well, because I wouldn't, to be honest, be where I'm at ever, would have probably ever been where I was at and got to do the things that I did if it wouldn't have been for that. So um lot of influence there from a lot of different people in this community. Um so being with groups of people all the time and you're working in a band together, you find certain things out that kind of like push your red button for per se, you know what I mean? Like there's
yeah.
that one thing you just don't want people to deal with you, and they not deal with you, they don't want to like mess with you or push that red button. So what would be like, what's your biggest pet peeve, I guess I could ask, like is if there's a pet peeve why you're performing or why you're writing music, or just in general being around the guys that you spend a lot of time with writing the music and doing those type of things, what would be your
Uh,
biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve is which and none of my guys really do. I mean, we do it from time to time. We play some of these off net shows, friends' houses on their porches and parties and stuff, and we kind
Yeah.
of relax a little bit on those. But uh, getting wasted before you go on stage is just dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just dumb.
Yeah.
And what really grinds my gears rolling with these guys that I'm with now is sloppy playing, and we're all bad. I mean, I'm bad about it by myself. You know what I mean? We just um, lack of practice. Those are kind of some pet peeves of mine that,
Right.
the guys know that if we ain't got some shit going, at least once a week, I get a little upset and in my feelers. Are we doing this shit or not? Like, fuck.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd say really just not being professional. I guess just to kind of put a big umbrella over everything is just not being as professional as I
Right.
feel like we should sometimes. But sometimes it's hard, man. Uh, you know, um, I've got a story I'm gonna tell, and
Okay.
I I've been doing music since I was like 16, bro.
Mhm.
So I'm rounding out close to 20 years in this gig.
Right.
And we roll up to this place to do this show, and they're like, "Yeah, man, you just go down here and you're there." I'm like, "All right, cool." So we get there, and they've got us playing on this fishing dock.
Okay.
I'm storytelling, so my doobie went out. But so we get there, and we're like, "All right, man, we're just gonna make the best of it, man. Fuck it, we're here, we got our gear, we're just gonna party down."
Okay.
And so we set up and we do sound check and everything's good. So we're standing around, we're drinking beer, waiting on our show time, and we're just talking mad shit to everybody that walks by. Hey, you guys come down, party with us. Raise hell, praise Dale. And so we get going, and we've kind of got like a little crowd built down there. Kind of surprising. Well, we get going, and this guy goes to running faders every which damn direction, talking about you guys are turning up, and we're like, we can't turn up. We didn't even have an amp one on stage. We were running all processors, so he was in complete control of everything. And I'm
Okay.
like, dude, just get your fucking hands off the goddamn mixer. Well, 3/4 of the band played 3 songs, and 1/4 of the band played 2.5 songs because he said, fuck it, and jerked his cables out. And halfway through the 3rd song, and packed his shit up and walked off stage.
Oh,
Man, I have
wow.
never. We ended our set with 3 songs. I never wanted to be off stage faster than I'd ever been that night. Um,
Oh,
and
boy.
just it was a horrible experience. And if we would have been a younger band, who knows what had happened? But we were just all laughing about it and
Right,
everything.
right, 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 right,
He was like, "Well, we put all the good bands over on that other stage." Well,
right.
what? Huh? All the good bands? Oh, okay. That's why
Wow.
we're over here by ourselves.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
professionalism, man.
Right, right.
We call
Yeah.
it truck talk.
Well, and that kind of hits another question I was going to ask you is, we saw it in a whole light. Some of us saw it differently, and I know there's a lot of people that do certain things for the wrong reasons. And it being like, hey, I want to be a rock star because I want to be famous, or I want to do this because it's a party all the time, and like there's all this stuff that goes on, or I want to make a ton of money, and it's more or less as we get older, we kind of learn, hey, there's this invisible line that comes up in the middle of the road, down that road that you take being a musician. And the best way I can describe it is, it kind of separates the realist from the unrealist, because you literally come to a point where you're literally giving up everything to do what you're going to do. Because if you're not going to do it, someone else is going to.
Right.
That's just how it is. So, and in that moment, that's when you realize, hey, being in a band is hard work, and it's a business. It literally is a business, because not only are you trying to get yourself together in something, but you're also juggling other people that are in this band with you, and
Yeah,
you're
it's
all
really
you're all kind of juggling each other, so
yeah.
it's a lot to soak up and understand. So I guess that's what kind of brings me to my next question with you. So you going into the industry and you doing the band thing, what's one thing in the industry, in the venture that you took, what's one thing that you didn't expect? Like, what was something you thought was gonna be a part of it, but that you didn't expect for it to be a part of once you got to that point and you're like opening for national acts and you're doing all these things?
I guess the party aspect of it, because you always hear the myth and the cliches, that how backstage is just a huge big party. And I guess it might have
Right.
been, in the Motley Crue days in the arenas, and it still might be like that in today's world. I don't know. I don't get to experience that stuff yet. Hopefully one day, but
Right.
as of
Right.
yet, not yet. But uh, so I'd say that's probably it. You're like, oh man, cool. Because you do places like
Mm-hmm.
Conservatory and Big Papa's and stuff like that, and you're like, where's backstage? And you're like, right over there in that corner.
Right, right,
So then when you get
exactly.
somewhere that like has a green room and has an actual backstage, you're like, oh, dude, we're gonna be partying, and you get back there and it's like nothing.
Yeah,
It's just bunch of
nothing cool.
big sausage fest, bunch of
Yep,
dudes, no chicks, or you might have the one dude's girlfriend, that's back there or
right,
whatever. But like,
right.
so that was probably it. And then just what really kind of slapped me in the face was the business side of things, man. It's just supposed to be a party. You're supposed to roll up and hang out with your clam out and roll on, you know what I mean? And
Right.
then I was like, oh damn, this is work.
Yeah.
And
It's
then that's when I realized why I really, really did it, man. And that's just because I like to entertain people, man. I like to have
yeah.
fun, and I like people to have fun at my expense. You know what I mean? So
Right,
if I
right.
can make somebody's head bang a little bit, or get a laugh, or
Of
even if
course.
they're like, "Fuck that guy," well, my job's
Yeah.
done. I made them feel something, I guess.
I mean, the Beatles were gigantic. A lot of people knew who the Beatles were. But you know what? The Beatles didn't please everybody in the planet. They had haters,
Yep, they
you know?
did. They still got hate.
Everyone does. Exactly. So, did it keep the Beatles from going and doing what they're going to do?
No,
Heck no.
sir.
No. I enjoyed playing in front of people myself too. But one thing I got to learn more about myself was when I got to tech. And when I was teching, it became an infused passion, because not was I only backstage putting gear together and doing things the best I possibly could do. It was really cool being able to build those weapons, I would like to say, and that's building a drum kit, doing those things to get them ready for the artist to
Yeah,
wield, if you would say, and seeing people in the crowd with huge smiles having a great time. That was a huge reward for me. As
yeah.
cheesy as that sounds, it was so cool to be a part of that. So I can definitely relate with you on many levels with that.
Yep.
That's a fact.
I
And
can
then
relate on that deal
to
too,
kind of,
man.
yeah. And to add to the story, big or small, even with the professional bands that I toured with on tour buses, at the end of the day, when you go to the green room, I would sit there and everybody would be on their computers or on their phones, either talking to their wives, their kids, hanging out on their laptops. And the only women backstage were probably their wives or their daughters that were
That
coming
were
out on the
working the merch
tour.
booth.
Exactly. So, and it's
They all
all
walk
sitting
around
there
with
and
one in
all
their hand.
nice. It's
Hey.
all sitting and nice. And then there's just like this fruit bowl in the middle, and
Yeah,
so there's just, that was the party, I mean, that's how we
woo.
partied. We hung out and relaxed, and
Yeah,
it was nice and quiet.
yeah, and you're not moving.
So
You're sitting still.
yeah, absolutely. And those you needed those days, man. They
Yeah,
were great. So
those buses get tight, man, when you go to putting, a couple handful of folks on them.
so what is one piece of advice, Chris, you would give to someone starting out in your career?
Oh, damn.
If they were going to start a band today and they said, man, I want to be a vocalist, or man, I want to be a guitar player, what would be one piece of advice you'd give someone?
Man, as cliche it is, I would just say practice.
Okay.
And just when you think, "Man, I really practiced my ass off," turn around and do it all over right there
There
again.
you go.
I'm and that's with anything. That's if you're beginning and you're like, "Man, I kinda wanna play guitar." Well, sit down and start learning it and practice, practice, and you'll be able to do just whatever your mind, whatever you tell your mind that you're gonna do, you can do it, man. I don't care who you are or what
Yeah.
you're trying to do. You can do it.
I agree.
So
Absolutely.
that's probably would be my biggest piece of advice to somebody up and coming, whether it be starting a band or trying to do the studio thing or you know whatever, learn an instrument or whatever. Would just be practice, man. Practice, practice.
Right. Right. Those are some good points, and that's some good advice to give to somebody that would probably be looking into getting into something like that, because it's the whole thing, practice makes perfect.
Well, and when you practice, you're always learning. And
Yep.
I don't. And Jerry, you can contest this, man. No one knows everything there is to playing guitar or drums or bass or vocals or editing or producing or mixing or mastering. I mean, you
Right.
can always be learning, man. And as long as
Yep.
you're practicing, you're learning, and as long as you're learning, you're bettering yourself and honing your craft and your skills, and which just turns out good. I mean, because no one's going to come watch a shitty guitar player or a shitty
No.
band, or they might come see you one time and go, "Oh hell, they're shitty," and then they're not going to go back. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh
Right.
man, that band's on the bill. Well, where do you play? We're going to come either before they play or after they play."
Right. Yeah, I mean, comes a point where if you're wanting to make it a career, you're definitely going to have to do something different about
Yeah.
it. And if you want to practice to get somewhere to do it, then that's probably the best thing you can do. Otherwise, if you're just having a fun time and you're just hanging out in a room full of dudes and people or girls or whatever you're playing or whoever you're playing with, and you're having a good time, at the end of the day, that's what matters, though.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and at that point, hell, just learn some cover songs, and that is, I hate to say it, go make some money.
right. One of the craziest stories or things that have happened to you in the industry, how you've been when you've been playing, if there's just one, that you could share, what would it be?
Oh man, uh, I got. Hey, let me grab a beer for this real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris has gone to go get a beer. This must be one heck of a story.
Oh man, I can't recall the year. I want to say it was early
Okay.
2019, might have been into 2018. We did a show up in Tulsa, and you know, we got there, normal routine. You load in, you play, you load out, and well, when we got done loading up and getting ready to go, we're all standing around in the parking lot bullshit. You know how it is, man.
Right.
And next thing we know, these two old drunk idiots come out of the bar trying to fight each other. They're so drunk that they're fighting themselves just trying to stand up. Then out of nowhere, like four Tulsa cops roll in, man. And I mean tires screeching and all, sirens blaring, lights going. And the one old boy, hell, he just takes off. And the other dude, he's done tripped himself in a big old pothole and hurt himself. And the cops are yelling at the one dude. They're like, "Hey, man, stop, or I'm going to tase you if you don't stop." And old boys kept on walking. And they lit his ass
Wow.
up, man. And he boom right in the road, dude. And then we're like, "Holy shit." Well, then the next thing we know, on the intersection where the light was from the venue, we see two more police cars roll up there screeching. I guess somebody had just gotten hit on a bicycle right there a few moments before the fight thing happened. And
Wow.
just like, holy crap, man. So, I mean, I guess it really didn't happen to us, but we got to witness it. It was pretty crazy, man.
That sounds crazy. Holy crap, man. Yeah, that's kind of that's a bit of a story there, I would have to say.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
All
good
right, all
times,
right,
man,
all
good
right.
times, good times.
Good times. Um okay. That's good.
Or, I'd say the probably the craziest thing that's ever happened in my career, my music career,
Okay.
uh, is basically right where I'm standing right now. Uh, this all started as a five piece. I just played guitar. Um, and then our vocalist at the time, everybody knows who it is. I won't mention it here, but fuck hell, he don't care. Rob Baby Barbecue, Robbie Q. Everybody knows Robbie
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah.
He was fronting us, and well, motherfucker challenged him to a game of fuck around and find out, and unfortunately, the folks found out,
Right.
and Rob
Right.
had to go take care of some legal issues. Which
Right.
he does this on like a Monday, and that weekend we've got a 3-day weekend coming up. In Texas and South Oklahoma and back here in the city, and I was just like, "Fuck it, I guess if we're gonna do it, let's do it." And I
Right.
I rewrote lyrics for 6 songs in 2 days, and, on a Thursday, we had a full band practice for about 5 hours, and Friday morning, we loaded up and went and rocked the house.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
that's pretty
Nice.
crazy.
That is
And
pretty
I'd never
crazy.
I've never fronted a band, and never played guitar and sang
But
completely.
you did it.
I'd done backups, but I'd never
Right.
been, like, singing, and,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
you know, I
Wow.
guess there's first time for everything.
Absolutely.
But
That's
I
definitely a
enjoy it, man, and, like I was saying earlier, I write about, stuff I live, so I think that's why people enjoy what we
right.
do, man, and, I've I've
Right.
gotten myself into some endeavors, we bought some recording gear and kinda got us this little studio set up, and we record ourselves. We try to do everything in-house, and, so I'm learning all kinds of stuff, man, and, we're actually gonna be dropping some stuff here probably the, end of July.
Okay.
I was wanting to kinda do it at the end of this month, but it's just not quite there yet, man, so,
Okay.
I give myself, another month to get everything together, which everything's looking pretty good. Uh,
Cool.
so that's gonna be titled, Bastards of Haggardville,
Okay.
or,
Nice.
or Bastards of Haggard County. I don't know.
You said you've got some music you're dropping soon, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And where can people currently either obviously listen to it like on Spotify, or they can go to what is it, Tidal as well.
Yeah, or I mean, really any streaming platform that people listen to,
Okay.
there's like
Even YouTube.
Deezer, Apple
Okay.
Music, YouTube Music.
Okay.
We're on all that stuff.
So if
So,
someone wanted to purchase a physical copy, where would they go?
um, you would have to go to our Bandcamp site. I believe that's the only place that you can get a. Well, I guess, and that would probably more likely be a digital download.
Okay.
Um, we ran a run of 100 CDs. We sold them all. We sat back and got to thinking about it. We've gone through some changes since that stuff was recorded.
Hmm.
We play those songs a little differently and stuff like that. So we re-recorded some of them. One of them, song called Aces, is going to be on this newest release. It's kind of a redone thing
Okay.
off of the Burnt EP. Um, so really, the only place they could probably go get anything would be off bandcamp.com/Haggardz Hellraizerz,
Okay.
and you can get get the digital downloads there.
If there was a question you wished I asked you, what would it be, and how would you have answered?
Why am I so goddamn good looking? And that's just because I am.
That is an awesome question and a very good answer, Chris. I'll give that up to you. That was really good. Right on, man.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
That's a hell of a way to kind of end that, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good job, man. Right on. Well, again, I want to thank you very much. Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. I appreciate your
Thanks for
time.
having me on, brother.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, man. It's good to catch up. Maybe since some of this mess is all subsided, man, maybe we can meet up and grab some coffee or something, man.
Cool.
Shoot the shit somewhere sometime, bud.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would like that very much, man. Well, that's the video, guys. I appreciate you guys always sticking around towards the end, and thank you so much for your support. If you guys want to see more content like this, feel free to hit my subscribe button and hit that bell notification on my YouTube channel. That way you guys get notified anytime I upload a new video. If you guys want to see this in the making and see it live and have questions to ask any artist, anyone in the entertainment industry that I have on my show that I do every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, head on over to my Facebook channel. I'll have all that information in the description below. Just click the link. It'll take you over to my Facebook. Hit that follow, hit that like, and you'll get live notifications every time I either go live or post the event for the upcoming event. I appreciate you guys and your love and your support. All my socials will be in the description below. You can check all those out, and I appreciate you. Also, Chris, I want to give you a huge shout out for coming into my show and taking your time out of your day to say hello and do this interview. I appreciate you, Chris Poor. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. Also, I'll have his information and socials in the descriptions below as well. So feel free to go check those out, give it a listen, send him a message, say hello, tell him you saw him on Jerry Lowlife interviews here on YouTube. All right, I appreciate you guys. Have yourself an absolute wonderful day. For more information on Haggardz Hellraizerz, go to their virtual merch booth, or you can visit them on YouTube, or check them out on Spotify. They're also on Tidal, or go give them a like or a follow on Facebook. And if you're feeling frisky, go over to TikTok, go check the videos out there. I'm sure they'd be much appreciated.